Coming up, Kevin Durant is the hottest player in the NBA, and he caught fire late to lead the Nets again last night. This is Locked On Now NBA.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
What's up, everybody? You are listening to Locked On Now NBA, local experts with the biggest stories on the hardwood. I'm your host, Daniela Bruce, and thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday. Our Locked On NBA hosts are here to help break down everything from Thursday night. Kevin Durant has been incredible for the Nets so far this season, and Brooklyn looks like a contender without its full arsenal of stars. Durant took over to beat the Sixers last night in our best performance.
The best performance.
Hold up.
Doug Norrie, Locked On Nets here following another win by the Brooklyn Nets, 114-105 over the 76ers. It's the Kevin Durant show again. Brooklyn playing down a lot of dudes out within the COVID protocols. And another game where it doesn't matter. Kevin Durant puts the whole team on his shoulders, leads a group of rookies, and just sort of the leftover players that are there with the Nets. This time against a mostly full-strength Joel Embiid-led Philadelphia 76er team, and the Nets just did it again. This is back-to-back games where they've been playing with a paper-thin squad, and they're able to pull out a victory, mostly because Kevin Durant's the best player in basketball, and it becomes more and more apparent with each game. 34 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists for Durant. In this one, puts the team on his back. Everyone else responds. They beat the Sixers. They win again. Down a bunch of guys, and it just doesn't matter. We're going to be talking about it all over on the Locked On Nets podcast.
Let's go around the league.
The New York Knicks were in the middle of a rough losing skid going into Thursday night, but the Houston Rockets have helped teams end losing streaks plenty already this season. New York bounced back by beating Houston, and Locked On Knicks recaps the biggest pros in the W.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Gavin Shaw of the Locked On Knicks podcast following a 116-103 win for the New York Knicks over the Houston Rockets, and I almost don't know where to start. There were so many storylines to come out of this one. First of all, it was a much-needed win because the Knicks had lost 7 of their last 8 coming into this game. As seemingly as it's been all season, the Knicks were led by their bench, with all 4 guys coming off the bench finishing with at least a plus-minus of 19, while 4 of the 5 starters, despite a 13-point win for the Knicks, finishing with a negative plus-minus. Alec Burks, who got significant time with the bench unit, being the sole exception to that. But off the bench, 3 big games. Emmanuel Quickley, dominant in the fourth quarter, 5 3-pointers, part of a night where he went 7 for 10 from behind the arc overall, finished with a season-high 24 points. Mitchell Robinson, who has been on the schneid for seemingly the entire year, had a massive fourth quarter with 13 points, 8 rebounds. He didn't miss any of his 8 shots. And Miles McBride, the rookie, with a career night, his second game getting significant time, 15 points, 9 assists, 4 steals, masterful defensively, excellent in transition, creative around the basket, just about everything you could want out of a rookie guard. And the Knicks need players to show up, with Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett still missing in action, in addition to Quentin Grimes. Evan Fournier as well, a breakout game with 23 points on 8 of 12 shooting. So that is it for right now. Tune into the Locked On Knicks podcast. Gavin Shaw signing off.
The Phoenix Suns won without their superstars last night, and in fact had no trouble running over the Washington Wizards. Our Locked On Suns host has everything you need to know on a big Phoenix win.
Another reminder that the Suns are just fine without Devin Booker. Brendan Clean here with Locked On Suns, coming to you after a Suns blowout win over Washington. You can hear the screams pouring down as fans leave after another satisfying win. No Devin Booker, as I said, and it did not matter. The Suns balanced, nobody scoring more than 20 points, but 7 players in double figures. Chris Paul getting it going a little bit in the first half. DeAndre Ayton continuing to develop his game in the pick and roll. The defense as good as ever. And they're able to quiet everybody but Bradley Beal just enough on Washington's side to come out with a win. Never really in doubt. Everybody gets to rest in the fourth quarter. About as perfect a win as you can ask for. For more on these Suns, listen to Locked On Suns wherever you get your podcasts.
The only team with a worse record than the Rockets so far this season is the Detroit Pistons, who lost yet again to the Pacers in Indiana. Locked On Pistons looks for positives after Detroit's 13th straight loss.
The Pistons losing streak continues. Host of the Locked On Pistons podcast, Kuku Hill here. The Pistons lose another game tonight, 113-122 to the Indiana Pacers. Saddiq Bey had a really good game tonight. He snapped out of his funk for at least a game. He had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 9 of 17 from the floor. He was much more aggressive this game. He was taking the shots that were open. He wasn't passing up open looks. He was being aggressive going to the basket. He drew a few fouls, got through the free throw line a few times. It was nice to see from Saddiq, who has been struggling all season. So it was nice to see him get one game out there where he played pretty well. Hopefully he can string a few of these together. Cade Cunningham also had a pretty decent game. He shot 8 of 16 from the floor, had 19.6 rebounds and 4 assists. He did a good job being aggressive to the basket. He was trying to draw free throws, but the refs didn't give him that many. He only got to the free throw line once. But he was definitely being extremely aggressive getting to the rim. That led to an efficient night for him, but the Pistons just didn't play defense. Neither did the Pacers, really. This game just had no defense in it at all, and the Pistons just don't have as much offensive firepower as the Pacers do to win a game like this. So tough loss, 122-113 to the Indiana Pacers. We'll talk about what we saw in tonight's game on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Pistons podcast.
And that's a wrap for us today. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Now your first listen every day. For more on the association and your team, make your second listens Locked On NBA and your team's local Locked On podcast. I'm Daniela Bruce, and this has been Locked On Now.